Good morning, afternoon-ish, everybody. How's it going? It's Victory Monday, by the way. We really get to still celebrate this win over the Seahawks. I'm still celebrating it. It's a great victory that the fact that the 49ers beat them on Thanksgiving. But you know what? It is now officially Eagles Week. We are entering Eagles Week, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what? We got some stuff to talk about already. Off the rip, the 49ers and Eagles game is off to a spicy start in terms of content. Like, it's already pretty insane and intense. And this is only Monday. It's going to get really, heated over the next couple of weeks. So I want to put this up there real quick as we start our little show here this morning. I want to talk to you about this right here. This was a pretty big stat that I thought was interesting. So right here, the 49ers are opening up as a 2.5 home favorite against the Eagles. So the Eagles are a 2.5 underdog. A 2.5 underdog. They are a 10-1 team. They're home. They're defending NFC champions, and they are facing the 49ers, and they will be the first 10-1 or better team in the league in history to be a home underdog. That, to me, is an outrageous, outlandish stat. Oh, my God. We are going to talk about this. What do you guys think? Again, the 49ers are a 2.5 favorite against the Philadelphia Eagles in their home, in the Link. The last time the 49ers played them, we all remember what happened. Brock Purdy, injury. It was not a pretty sight. And everybody said if Brock Purdy was there, the 49ers would win this game. So I have a lot to say about this game and that stat and everything else. But before we get there, how's everybody doing? Good morning, good afternoon to you. How are you feeling? How's everybody doing? Are we ready for Sunday? I just don't even want to wait. I want to see this game like right now. Right now, I'm so hyped. The fact that the 49ers are super motivated, they've been motivated all offseason. They were pissed. George Kittle, at the end of that game, I remember the reporter asked him, I posted this on the Instagram, the reporter asked him, like, how did it feel to not have your quarterback and, lose this game? He looked at the reporter. He's like, I feel like shit. We didn't have our starting quarterback. Like, how else am I supposed to feel? You know what I mean? Like, how am I supposed to feel? George Kittle was mad. And we all remember he tried to rally the team. He tried to go out there and, rally the troops. And it was like, look, man, we got this. Well, I got this. What a story would be. The fake team wasn't feeling it. He walked up to Brock Purdy. He tries to be lighthearted. He's like, hey, are you ambidextrous? See if he could throw with the other hand. Brock wasn't feeling. Nobody was feeling. They were all pissed off. He had Fred Warner asking everybody, like, where's Brock? Where's Brock? I just remember a sinking feeling in that game. And I'm sure this team is hungry. They want revenge. And if the 49ers want to get the number one seed, if there's a chance for them to get a number one seed, they have to start this weekend and get this dub. Like, obviously, they should have won those 3 games they lost, or at least 2 of them. I mean, they shot themselves in the foot, but the Eagles have been able to hold on and win close games like we talked about last night. The Bills and Kansas City were absolute down-to-the-wire games, and I think this is going to be another one. But the 49ers being a favorite on the road is crazy because that just tells you how much the league respects them, how much the books respect them. But there's going to be a lot that goes into it because betting is huge. I mean, people are going to want to place some big bets on this game, and I'm a little nervous. I'm sure you guys are nervous. And Rick is right. That's why he keeps saying you got to protect the quarterback. And Brock Purdy has to be protected because that last game we played the Eagles didn't work that way. It was not pretty. Not pretty. Yeah. It was an ugly ending. And, Josh Johnson came in. And even Josh Johnson got hurt. He got a concussion in that game. So no quarterback was safe in that 49ers game. And you had Christian McCaffrey and Kyle Juszczyk lining up at running back. It was just demoralizing. Like, it was a demoralizing loss. Everything was so hyped going into the game. You had, like, if you watch, like, the game from the beginning, not just the highlights leading up to that week, just that day in general. You had Jerry Rice flexing his Super Bowl rings. You had Joey Bosa supporting his brother. Everything was hyped. The vibes were up. 49ers score. CMC put the team on his back. Nick Bosa, he had the big sack, and then just things started to catapult. Devonta Smith, questionable call at the end. Kyle should have challenged it. We remember that. And then boom, the Brock Purdy injury. They didn't know if he's coming back or playing or what happened. And then Josh Johnson comes in, he gets concussed, and then it was just a snowball effect. You can't play a game without a quarterback. And now we get to really see if this was, in fact, a team that could beat them with their starting quarterback. And today, my man Jose says, I'm ready for this game. I think we all are. Today, let's see. There was a comment I saw that I wanted to, Ethan says that Reddick gave us bulletin board material. Hassan Reddick, today, the big trending topic of the day. Hassan Reddick was asked yesterday after a game by the reporters, about San Francisco. And this is what he said. He says, talk is cheap. They get to come back in the link. It was a lot of boo-hoos last year, a lot of crying, a lot of what if, a lot of this, a lot of that. They get a chance to come back in here, line that shit up, and prove it again. He's right in a way that the 49ers, all we kept saying all offseason was, hey, you know what? What if we had Brock Purdy? What if we had Brock Purdy? And now we get to prove if we got Brock Purdy and a healthy team, this 49er team should come in and dominate. Speaking of health, people want to know how's the health of our O-line. Eric, the O-line is actually in tip-top shape. Feliciano has stepped in over the last couple of weeks, and he's probably going to start over Burford, who's dealing with the knee issue, but he should be back. Aaron Banks has been solid, and he came back last week against the Eagles, and his turf toe didn't look like it was bothering him. He played phenomenal. Trent Williams is healthy. Colton McKivitz is healthy, and Jake Brendel is healthy. So our 49ers offensive line is absolutely healthy right now, and that's great because the Eagles are dealing with some injuries on their line. The false start merchant, Lane Johnson, is dealing with a groin injury. He's day-to-day. He didn't play last game, and now he's expected maybe, possibly, probably, we don't know, to play on Sunday against the Niners. He's has a chance to play on Sunday. So we'll see. And their tight end, Dallas Goedert, he's been on the injured reserve, but he might come back this week. He's trying to push his way back into playing this week. So we'll see. The 49ers are relatively healthy other than the Talanoa Hufanga injury. That's a rough one, but Jair Brown stepped in so far so well. And, Eagles are a little bit more banged up. Lane Johnson, Fletcher Cox. So they got some pretty big injuries. Whether people want to know, it might be raining this weekend. It's going to be cold. It's Philly. But we shall see. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry. So I want to post up the video clip of Hassan Reddick and what he posted today. Here is the clip of Hassan Reddick. Did you guys hear the audio real quick before we continue? It was muted. Okay. I didn't think it was muted, but let's see. Let's see if I can play it again this time and get the audio. Well, that's unfortunate. I don't know why the volume's not working. I'll have to work on those technical difficulties. But as you know, basically what he said was, there was a lot of boo-hoos, talk is cheap, a lot of crying, a lot of what if, a lot of this and a lot of that. And he basically said that the 49ers get a chance to come back, line up, and prove it. Prove to the fact that they could win this game without Brock Purdy. So sorry that you couldn't hear the audio. It is posted on my Instagram story, or not my story, my Instagram post. So I think we put the video on the shorts too if you want to hear the audio clip. But that's basically what he said. That's a bulletin board material comment to me. I know it's really the truth in saying like, yeah, they said this, they said that. But the fact that he says that there's a lot of crying, by the 49ers. Again, the 49ers, they were painted as these crybabies all offseason. Reporters kept asking them, and what were they going to say? No comment, no comment. No, you keep pressing the Niners. They're going to answer the questions. And that's all they talked about in Super Bowl week. The Eagles were a Super Bowl team, against the Chiefs, and everybody in the media just wanted to talk about the Niners. So it's not my fault. I'm sorry that they might have been pressed that they took the spotlight from the Eagles. Like, really, if you think about it, the Eagles were supposed to be the team in the NFC to have the spotlight. And all the talk was about the 49ers. And I think that rubbed them the wrong way. And everybody asked, oh, well, why did you guys lose the NFC Championship game? Of course, we didn't have a quarterback. At least it would have been a fair shot. At least the 49ers would have had a different outcome. Who knows if the 49ers win or not, but it definitely would have been a different outcome, right? And Ethan makes a beautiful comment here. He says, this is the same team that cried about the turf in the Super Bowl, right? Chiefs played on the same field. And that's what Hassan Reddick was sitting there. In this quote today, he says that the 49ers did a lot of crying, a lot of what if, a lot of this, a lot of that. And this is the same guy that after the Super Bowl, he was saying, oh, well, the turf field was not good. We couldn't run, do our game. He was literally complaining about the field conditions in the Super Bowl. But he has to come out today and say, oh, they were crying. A lot of boo-hoos, boo-hoo, boo-hoo. Well, boo-hoo, Hassan. You boo-hooed yourself. So, you know what? We're going to wait till Sunday. I hope the 49ers don't make any bulletin board material. You don't want to fire up a team. 49ers are already fired up. They're already pissed off. They're already pissed off going into this game. They're already pissed off going into this game. You don't need to fire up the Niners anymore. And the 49ers don't need to give them any bulletin board material. But I'm sure there's going to be some juicy content, some juicy sound bites. We already got one today, I love it. Absolutely love it. Hassan Reddick. Oh, man. Hassan Reddick. This quote might come back to kill him this weekend. And I hope it does. My man Agent E says the 49ers just need to stay quiet and stay focused for Sunday. Absolutely. You can't talk. You can't say anything silly. Just keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. And let's hope that the 49ers take care of business on Sunday. Let the game do your talking. I agree with that, Agent E. The 49ers, just stay quiet. Let the game do your talking for you. Absolutely. Jonathan says Eagles played a physical game yesterday and they are tired. The Niners had extra rest days, huge for those late game situations. And that is a massive point that we have to keep hammering in this week. We talked about it last night. This is a huge, 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 huge factor. I love this comment, Jonathan, because we talked about it last night. The Eagles went down to the wire with Buffalo Bills. They played an overtime game, a very knockdown, drag-out game. That was a physical, beat you up, knock you in the mouth, bloody your lip type game. And they played in an overtime game. And it wasn't just like 2 minutes in overtime. They went down to the wire. It was almost to the end of that overtime period. And they really had to dig deep to win that game. So that's going to really affect how the Eagles prep this week. We can't take that for granted. The 49ers got 3 extra days after Thursday Night Football where they cruised against Seattle. So if you really think about it, the 49ers are well rested. Now they just got to stay humble, stay quiet, and stay focused, man. My man Beast Mode says the Sunday's game has rain in the forecast. I'm hearing that too. I hope it's not a rainy game because, rain and the 49ers, they just don't mix. West Coast teams in the rain, not always a good combination. Rick says the 49ers don't have to prove this team or any other team in the league that we can beat them. We could beat them if we play good. Well, in a way, they do have to prove that they could beat them because they haven't been able to beat them, and this was the team that held them back last year. The 49ers have beaten the Eagles in different occasions, but not in a massive game over the last couple of years where the Eagles have been kind of trending up as this dominant NFC team with Jalen Hurts and everything. So I think the 49ers do have to prove to people because a lot of people are thinking that this, like we talked about, that the 49ers are a 2.5 home or a road favorite. The fact of the matter is a lot of people don't agree with that. Like a lot of people, when this news came out, were like, how are the 49ers, the favorite? How are they the favorite over Philly? But I think we touched on it. They have more rest. Their players aren't as injured. The only big injury, like we said, is Hufanga. The Eagles have a lot of injuries right now compared to the 49ers to key players. Fletcher Cox, right? Lane Johnson, Dallas Goedert. Those are really key players, and they are hurt right now. So the 49ers do have a lot to prove to people, and Kyle Shanahan has a lot to prove to people because they've been winning, against some subpar teams. They've beaten some teams with winning records, right? Jacksonville, Seattle. It's not that they haven't beat any really good teams, but they haven't beat a team of this caliber in a while. And this was the game that prevented them from making the Super Bowl last year. And, if the 49ers are playing from behind, they have to prove that they can win from behind. They've beaten teams where they're leading and they have the edge. They're up 10 points. They're up 20 points. Like, they know how to stay with the lead. But Philadelphia is a team that knows how to come back no matter the situation. They did it against Kansas City. They did it against the Bills. They were down the same deficit both games, and they came back. So the 49ers can't let the Eagles hang around, and they cannot take this team for granted. Once they're up, if the 49ers have the lead, they have to be aggressive, and they cannot let Philadelphia hang around. They got to go for the gusto, go for the jugular. Jalen Hurts, you can't let Jalen Hurts sit around and have extra chances. Yesterday, he had a abysmal first half. People were clowning on the guy. I was like, oh, man, this is the MVP candidate. Third quarter, fourth quarter comes around. He finished the game with 5 touchdowns. He accounted for the game winner in overtime. So he'll lull you to sleep, man. This Eagles team is good. They got a great coach. I hate the guy. I absolutely hate Sirianni. You got to give him his flowers. He's coaching this team well. They got a very well-balanced team. This is one of the best teams we've seen in the NFL in a long time. You got to give them their credit. But the 49ers are just as good as this team. If you look at this roster, how it's constructed, it's going to be a battle. This is going to be a absolute battle, Goliath versus Goliath. I'm ready for it. What's up, my man Charlie? Debtopia says she's impatiently waiting for Sunday. I am too. Brandon says biggest mistake Kansas City and Buffalo made was that they left them hang around. Absolutely. That's what we just said is you let a team like Philadelphia hang around, and eventually they will come back and finish the job. You can't. Depressed Niners fan says Sirianni looks like he would growl at you in public. Yeah, man, I can't deal with that guy. He just has such a punchable face. I can't stand Sirianni. We'll see what happens. What's up? Oh, what's up? What's up? Jonathan says, this game reminds me of 2019 versus the Saints. Huge seeding implications, and we went into the hostile New Orleans environment. That's a good point right there. You remember that game? A lot of people were like, ooh, the Saints are the big, high-flying, high-scoring. They're the big team. They're at home. And the 49ers somehow, some way, came up with a way to escape out of New Orleans. That was one of the most iconic games in the last decade. That was a beautiful game. The George Kittle, rumble down the end, the big play where he basically carried the whole Saints team on his back. That was Jimmy Garoppolo's greatest game as a Niner. The 49ers were in their bag. Emmanuel Sanders, touchdown pass. That play was just beautiful to Raheem Mostert. Maybe Kyle Shanahan's going to have to pull out the kitchen sink. Maybe a Debo touchdown pass, maybe a CMC touchdown pass, something. They tried to get the Debo touchdown pass this weekend or on Thursday against Seattle, if you guys didn't catch that. I don't know if you guys saw that, but, they tossed it to Debo. Debo comes around. He was trying to throw that dime to Ayuk, man. I think that Kyle wants to dial that play up again. We'll see what happens, man. He says he was hyped to see me on the 49ers tailgate. Yeah, we was doing our thing at the tailgate this week. It's always fun. Shout out to my boy Ken for 49ers tailgate. Always gets the good content on there. Beast Mode says the Niners have to stop the run game. In the NFC Champion game, Eagles were running all over the Niners. Yeah, absolutely. Stopping the run. They got to contain A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. It's not just one thing. It's a lot. It's the 49ers, again, are going to have their hands full. The Eagles will too. Because the 49ers have Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. Those two guys have been absolute money. And the Eagles secondary, it's not really the greatest right now. And that's their weak spot. If the 49ers can find one little weakness in their armor in the Eagles team, it is the secondary of the Eagles, and they have to attack. But in order to attack that secondary, they have to establish the run. And CMC has to go and cook. And CMC right now has been nominated again for the 4th time this season for the FedEx NFL Ground Player of the Week. FedEx should just give him the award at this point. This man has won it 3 times. He's nominated for the 4th time. I don't know if he'll win it this week because Kyrie Williams had a fantastic game for the Rams yesterday, although it was against the Arizona Cardinals. But hey, you can't take away his statistics. So, but CMC, I think, has got to be pacing this team. He had a great game last year until, all the injuries into the quarterbacks happened, and he had to basically kind of play quarterback at some point. So I think CMC is going to come into this game with an absolute mindset of, I want to dog walk this team. So, it's going to be interesting. How's it going, Red Jet Show? Debtopia says CMC is the Terminator. He really is, man. That guy's a monster. He takes a licking and it keeps on ticking. He's like the Energizer Bunny, really. And I think he's not going to want to let this team lose. Like you saw him a couple weeks ago beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, fourth quarter. They're winning by 2 scores. He gets stopped on 4th down, and he's like banging the tablet. He's pissed off. He's mad. I'm like, bro, chill out. You're up 2 scores. You didn't get the first down, but you guys are still going to win this game. That's his mentality. This guy is built different, and I'm sure that game just was painful to him last year. I remember after the game, I was going back to all the post-game, press conferences, and I was watching, and they asked Christian McCaffrey, like, how are you feeling? It wasn't the ending that you guys wanted. And his press conference last year was, you hate to lose a game like this, but he goes, I'm absolutely so happy that I came to this team. It was the best decision. But like his post game last year was just how thankful he was to be on the 49ers. And I think it's going to make it even better this week. Like his mindset is, I'm going to make sure that I do everything in my power to help this team beat the stupid Philadelphia Eagles. And I love that, because that is such a great mentality. Like this guy loves being on the 49ers, man. And this game means so much to this team. If they want to win, NFC Championship, they have to hopefully get that number 1 seed, or at least show the Eagles that they are in charge. They have the power. And that's got to really start this weekend. CMC kind of, him and Debo paced this team. If you watched last week's game against the Seattle Seahawks, those 2 guys were getting so much carries and touches, and that's what really kind of put this team over the top, man. So, Mario says, Purdy knows this is the game that if he wins, he'll get the redirect from everyone. This is a great comment. This is a game that means so much for Brock Purdy, because last year he wasn't there. And everybody is still kind of throwing dirt on his name because he still hasn't won that big game. And he didn't beat Jalen last year because of the injury. And people are still doubting Brock. If Brock Purdy goes into the link, goes toe-to-toe with Jalen Hurts, and he comes out victorious against the Eagles, there can be no more doubt. There can be no more hate on Brock Purdy's name. Like, I don't know how anybody will be able to find a way to hate this man, because if he goes into the link and he slays the Dragon, the Eagles, and he has a good game, put the respect on his name, give him the MVP candidacy, at least put his name in the MVP, talks. Because listen, I'm telling you, his stats are phenomenal. We all know the stats. He's like number 1 in almost every category. So let's realize how good Brock Purdy is, ladies and gentlemen. And if he goes in and he outperforms Jalen Hurts, the media will have no other way but to give him his respect, his flowers. There's nothing else they can do. This is a big game for Brock Purdy. This is a huge game for Brock Purdy. This is a game. 96 Collection says he should be a front runner. He leads almost every category. He should. You're absolutely right. He should be a front runner. But unfortunately, you know how the media is doing this thing. You know how they're rolling this year. Brock Purdy should be a front runner, though. Absolutely. But this game can put him on the map for the whole media, because still there's a lot of doubters. Not everybody watches Niner football, although we are on, a prime time slate a lot of the times. But this game right here, 49ers, Eagles, Brock plays good. He helps his team win. Media is going to fanboy over him. Some people are. Some people are still on the hate train. But if you're on the hate train, I don't know how the hell you can hate on Brock if he goes into the link and beats him. So it's going to be interesting. Going to be interesting, man. 96 Collections, shout out, says, Eagles have barely been beaten teams and they haven't played the Niners. So when the Eagles finally meet their match. I was thinking this yesterday. I said, man, the Eagles have been holding on to a thread. Teams have been letting them hang around, and they find a way to win. At some point, you think that luck has to run out, right? Is that luck going to run out against the 49ers, a very dominant team on both sides of the ball, a very well-coached team, and, Shanahan has the game plan. This team on paper has some of the best, like this is one of the best rosters ever constructed, right? Look at the players, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, et cetera, et cetera. Trent Williams, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, like some of the best players at every position, some of the highest paid players at every position. It's incredible what this team is able to do, when they're fully healthy. It's just such a well-oiled machine. And you think at some point that the streak that the Eagles are doing, the way that they're playing, it has to come to an end. 49ers could be that team to really just humble pie them. We'll see. Eric says Purdy is really going to show he has ice in his veins. I hope he does, because we need that performance from Brock. Let's hope that the moment's not too big enough for him. And, he's a very poised quarterback, and I think this is what he's got to prove on Sunday, that, yes, I am poised. Yes, I am that guy. Yes, I am him. Yes, I could beat Jalen Hurts in a big game. Yes, I could win money-type games. Like, I am your franchise. If he's the franchise quarterback, he has to go into Philly like it's nobody's business and just dominate this game. And that's what I think Brock Purdy's going to do on Sunday. But we'll see. There's a lot of lead up still. There's still a lot of questions, a lot of preparation, a lot of film to be studied by both teams. The 49ers hopefully are studying that Bills film, that Chiefs film, that Jets film. Study that Jets film. Study that Zach Wilson performance. Zach Wilson beat the Eagles. The only quarterback to have a victory over the Eagles is Zach freaking Wilson, man. Depressed Niners fan says, on Twitter, Shannon Sharp finally saw something in Brock from Seattle Thanksgiving. It's coming around. You're right. Shannon Sharp switched the narrative a little bit. He was doubting all year. He saw a little something. And that's what's going to happen. The more Brock performs, the better he does on these grand stage games, the games where he's doubted, he's going to start turning all the doubters into believers. That's what happens. Big quarterbacks, and I hate to use this guy's name, Tom Brady, but that's who you compare anything of this nature to, because Brock Purdy, late round pick, last pick in the draft, his story is very similar to Tom Brady. I hate to say he's, anything like Tom Brady right now. He's the GOAT. We all know. I'm not going to say he's basically Tom Brady. I'm just saying his story is very similar. There's a lot of similar arcs. And when he was coming up and he was, starting to make his name, people doubted it is the same people. They doubted, Tom Brady this, system that, blah, 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 blah. And then at the end of the day, when he kept proving himself, people had to say, Tom Brady's the guy. He's that guy. He's that guy. Because he kept proving himself over the doubters. And that's what Brock Purdy has to do. The more he proves himself, the media is going to be like, oh, my God, he is that. He's him. He's Timothy. He's the guy. And that's all Brock has to do is keep proving himself, keep winning, keep putting up stats. That's it. Bottom line, you just have to keep putting up the numbers and the wins. And they'll finally, put respect on your name. That's it. At the end of the day, nowadays, the way media is, the way the sports is, you just have to keep proving people wrong. That's it. Live in a day and age that people are going to scrutinize you for every little thing. And Brock Purdy, he has a shining opportunity. Now, even if the 49ers lose and, he still has a good performance, either if he has a bad or good, it's not his defining moment in his career. It's not going to say, okay, he's done, he's a bust. But this is a game that could really catapult him, is my overall, topic. It's my overall, takeaway from this is if he wins this game with the 49ers and he has a good performance, the takeaway here is, man, Brock is really going to put his name into that upper echelon mold, and people are going to start saying he might just be that MVP candidate. If he loses, people are going to say, okay, he's still got time to learn. He's still a ways away from being elite. He's still got to learn this. He's still got to do this, da-da-da-da-da. But this is a big game for Brock Purdy either way. Yeah, we know, Christine. We all know Brock has ice in his veins. We know, but the haters don't. Team Money, my man, what's good? He says Jalen Hurts won't run down the middle with Warner. Plus, we got the edges sealed. Corners are strapping up. Eagles ain't shit. I wouldn't say they ain't shit. They're a good team. I'm not going to sit here and say anything negative to them because I don't want the bad juju. But, I feel like the 49ers are a very, very, very well prepared team for this matchup. They match up very good. And the Eagles, I don't think they've been as strong as they have in the past. They still have a great D-line. They still have a great offensive line, good skill set players. But there are some weaknesses compared to where they were before. Secondary, to me, is a little bit weaker than it was in the past, especially last year. 49ers, definitely linebackers are a huge factor. We know Fred Warner is going to bring the heat. We know Fred Warner is going to come out there and just want to, go crazy. He's been playing like a defensive player of the year, and this is the type of game where Fred can dominate. Same thing with Fred Warner or Dre Greenlaw. Those linebackers could really mix it up and get nasty out there. Corners have played very, very good this last couple of weeks. Now this is the test. Now this is a huge test. Mooney Ward, let me tell you about Mooney Ward. I saw this stat today. It's really stood out to me. Check this out. Mooney Ward, in coverage over the last several weeks, since week 10, he has been targeted 23 times. He's allowed 11 receptions for 113 yards. He's forced 7 incomplete passes, and he has a 62.4 passer rating allowed. So that's pretty good. He's really starting to turn it around. He's heating up right when the 49ers kind of need it during this tough stretch of games. Mooney Ward has been Clamp City. We call him the Clamp Daddy around here because he's basically the father of whoever he's covering, basically, Diamante Lenore moving to the slot over Oliver it's just been a huge adjustment, and it's been really helpful to the secondary. And then you have the shining star, Ambry Thomas. My boy, my Michigan boy. Ambry Thomas, outside corner, tearing it up, playing like a Pro Bowler. Who knew? Who knew? That secondary has their hands full, though, because the Eagles have a very, very good set of wide receivers. So, depressed Niners fan says, Mooney needs to pretend that Metcalf's face is taped over AJ Brown. Just go out there when you're lining them up. Just have that vision. It's DK Metcalf. It's DK Metcalf. I mean, they're very similar type of receivers. They're very strong, physical, tall, imposing receivers. Although AJ Brown runs a better route tree, DK just runs a straight line. But AJ Brown, man, is a grown ass man. When he catches the ball, it's hard to take him down. He's like a combo of like Debo and I guess DK. He's a good ass receiver, man. AJ Brown's a beast, man. I hate to, give other teams props, but you gotta give him credit when the credit's due. AJ Brown's he's a dog, man. And you know what? He gets so many double teams that he opens it up for other guys like Devonta Smith. So, gonna have their hands full with him. Depressed Niners fan says, real question: how much of this game is gonna be on the refs? Yeah, you know what? I don't even want to sit here and say anything, but we know the refs. We know the refs are going to be crazy. Refs are going to be crazy. They make some critical calls in critical situations. Let's hope that none of those goes against the Niners. I just hope they don't, but reality is it's going to happen. Jonathan says Jair Brown 2 picks this game, could put himself in the D-Roy convo. Woo! Let's go. I like that prediction. Eric says this is Kittle's game. I think Kittle's going to show up in this game. Although last time I'm still not sure who I feel is going to be like the star. I've been kind of nailing it the last couple of weeks, honestly. I hate to give myself a pat on the back. Actually, no, I like to pat myself on the back. I've been kind of nailing these predictions last week on who's going to take off. I said Debo last week, and he did. I said Brandon Ayuk the last couple of weeks, and he has. I said he's got to step up and earn his check and get touchdowns, and that's what he's been doing. So we'll see. I'm going to take a little bit more time to really think who I really think is going to step up. I have a feeling CMC. I just feel like this game has like CMC's fingerprints all over it, but we'll see. It's early. I'll let you guys know as the week goes on. Raymond says, I feel Debo's going crazy this game. I kind of feel it. I kind of feel the same in a way because last year, all the trash talk. Debo's the type of guy, man. He keeps things bottled up. He takes things personally, and then he lets it explode on game day. Like he did that to the Rams. The whole Aaron Donald, he's done that to many, many teams. When they talk trash, he goes out there and he just lets them have it. He lets the game do the talking. So I could see Debo being a guy that has this like monster game against Philly because they jawed him all season, man, all off season. There was the report. Remember when the reporter, he hung up on the report. This is my favorite moment to start the season, bro. It was the beginning of the season. It's like week 1. The off season's over. Why are we talking about last season already? It's already the new season. Reporter, this is like 9 months. You could have asked this question 9 months ago, maybe. This guy asks him like it's his, and he's a report. Like, what are you doing? Do you not have any etiquette? Straight up goes up to Debo. So, what do you think about the Philadelphia game? Why'd you guys lose? Oh my God! And he's like pestering, and Debo's like, why are we talking about this? Week 1's next week, and he just hung up. He's like, I gotta go. Why would you do that? And then people were like, oh, he's a baby. No, he's answered this question 700 times. This is what people are saying. Well, all he talks about is the past because they keep asking him the stupid question. Debo he's ready for this game. I kind of feel that too. You might have a point there. I think Debo's gonna go absolutely wild in this game. Christine says 60% chance of rain. God, man. Debo versus Bradbury. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. gonna be a fun one. Raymond said the reporter was in his feels. He really was, man. He was like, "Oh, I can't believe he left." He was like so mad. But Debo didn't deserve that. He didn't deserve to have that question asked to him. It's stupid. That was a classic moment, though. That was one of the best moments of the offseason. I didn't even post much this offseason. It got to a point where I was so big. That was one of the things I posted this offseason because I was like, "Oh, this is too hilarious." I was like, I gotta post. Like there was like a 2 month stretch where I probably didn't post for a while because it was so big. That was the one thing I remember I posted. If you go back, there was like I posted that video and then I didn't post anything for a long time because and I was just like, man, I look back and God, that was probably one of the best moments of the off season. Debo just said, "You dude." Oh man, I don't know. This is gonna be a good game. But anyway, you guys, appreciate you for hopping in on this chat, little morning, afternoon chat here. We'll probably be back live a little later. Again, just wanted to recap: 49ers are a 2.5 favorite on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles, 10-1. Niners are built different. Hassan Reddick, shots fired to the 49ers. He says all they did was boo-hoo and cry. Time for them to talk and see what they can do. Unbelievable. Monday, it's Monday. We still have 6 days until Sunday, and we've already got the juicy content from these players. I cannot wait for the rest of this week. I can't wait for Sunday. Someone get me a flying DeLorean so we can make it to Sunday. Y'all have a good rest of your day. Happy Monday. I love y'all. Take care. We'll be back live a little later. Bang, bang. 9 again.